The Awakening Storm. The year was 2157, and Earth had long since lost its verdant glory. The great climate wars of the 2090s had left the planet scarred, with sprawling arcologies housing what remained of humanity rising from seas of rust-colored sand. Dr. Aria Blackwood stood at her laboratory window in the New Pacific Arcology, watching the eternal sandstorm that raged outside. Her reflection in the reinforced glass showed a woman worn by years of research, silver streaks through her dark hair, determination etched in the lines around her eyes. "Dr. Blackwood, you need to see this." The voice belonged to Marcus Rivera, her youngest researcher. His usually calm demeanor was shattered by excitement or fear, she couldn't tell which. The signal had appeared 3 days ago. At first, they thought it was just another ghost in the machine, an echo of humanity's dying satellite network. But this was different. It pulsed with a rhythm that defied natural occurrence, broadcasting from somewhere beyond Neptune's orbit. "The patterns changed," Marcus said, pulling up a holographic display. "It's not just broadcasting anymore. It's responding." Aria's hands trembled as she manipulated the data stream. 20 years of searching for extraterrestrial intelligence, and now, when Earth needed it most, something had finally answered. The message was elegant in its simplicity: prime numbers, basic elements, and then something more complex. "Get me Director Harrison," she commanded, her voice steady despite her racing heart. And Marcus, not a word to anyone else. Within hours, the New Pacific Council chamber was filled with the remaining leaders of humanity's scientific community. Director Thomas Harrison, a bear of a man with a shock of white hair, stood at the head of the table. The room hummed with nervous energy as Aria presented her findings. "The signal is artificial, there's no doubt," she explained, projecting the complex mathematical sequence. "But what makes this extraordinary is its origin. It's not coming from deep space, it's coming from our own solar system." The room erupted in whispers. Harrison raised a hand for silence. "Explain." "Something out there has been watching us, perhaps for centuries. And now, when we're at our weakest, they've decided to make contact." The debate raged for hours. Some argued for caution, others for immediate response. But Earth's situation was desperate. The arcologies could sustain human life, but resources were dwindling. The planet's recovery would take centuries they didn't have. Late that night, as the council continued their deliberations, Aria worked alone in her lab. The signal had changed again, becoming more complex. As she worked to decode it, the holographic display suddenly flickered and expanded, filling the room with stars. A figure materialized, humanoid but clearly alien, its form elegant and otherworldly. Its skin seemed to shift like liquid mercury, and its eyes held an intelligence that made Aria's breath catch. "People of Earth," it spoke, its voice translating perfectly into English. "We are the Nexari. We have watched your struggle, your resilience in the face of devastation. We offer you salvation." Aria stood frozen, aware that similar projections must be appearing in centers of power across Earth. The being continued, "Your world can be restored. Your civilization can flourish again. We have the technology, the knowledge. All we ask is partnership." The words were perfect, the offer too good to refuse. But something in those metallic eyes made Aria's scientific instincts fire warning signals. Why now? Why wait until humanity was at its weakest? Before she could voice her concerns, Director Harrison burst into her lab. "Dr. Blackwood, they're here." He grabbed her arm and pulled her to the window. The eternal sandstorm had parted like a curtain, revealing a sight that would change human history forever. A ship hung in the sky, massive beyond comprehension, its surface rippling like liquid metal in the sun. Smaller craft descended toward the arcology, their arrival heralding either humanity's salvation or something far more sinister. As Aria watched the ships descend, she couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's desperate reach for survival might have invited something far more dangerous than extinction. But there was no turning back now. The storm had awakened, and Earth would never be the same. Shattered trust. First contact with the Nexari brought a wave of hope across the dying Earth. Within days of their arrival, the alien ships had established bases near every major arcology, their liquid metal structures rising from the wasteland like mirrors reflecting humanity's dreams of salvation. Commander James Rhodes watched the Nexari engineers work from his security post in New Pacific's agricultural sector. Their technology seemed like magic, atmospheric processors that could cleanse the toxic air, soil regenerators that promised to heal the Earth. But 20 years in Earth's defense forces had taught him to look for threats in gifts freely given. They're requesting access to the deep aquifer systems now, Lieutenant Sofia Torres reported, her dark eyes narrowing at the data stream. Third request this week. Rhodes rubbed his scarred jaw. And Dr. Blackwood? Still working with their scientific team. But she's been sending encrypted data bursts to your private channel. The commander pulled up Aria's latest transmission on his neural display. Her message was brief, the numbers don't add up. Meet me at the old observatory. Midnight. The abandoned observatory lay at the edge of the arcology's protective shields. Rhodes found Aria already there, her face illuminated by the glow of ancient equipment she'd restored to working order. Look at this, she said without preening, projecting a holographic map of Earth. Red dots pulsed where Nexari bases had been established. They're not random placements. They're following a pattern, directly above Earth's largest remaining resource deposits. Rhodes studied the pattern. Resources they promised to help us restore. That's not all. Aria's fingers danced through the data. I've analyzed their atmospheric processors. They're not just cleaning the air, they're changing its composition. Subtle changes, but in 3 months, it will be more suited to their biology than ours. How many others know about this? Marcus suspected something early on. He disappeared 2 days ago. Official report says he requested transfer to the European arcology, but his family never got word. Aria's voice cracked. I should have seen it sooner. Their technology, their promises, it's all too perfect, too calculated. A soft chime interrupted them, the Nexari's daily broadcast. The liquid metal alien appeared, its soothing voice washing over the city. Citizens of Earth, rejoice. The first phase of atmospheric restoration begins tomorrow. Soon, your world will bloom again. Rhodes switched off the projection in disgust. They're not saviors. They're terraformers. Worse, Aria pulled up new data. I've decoded more of their original signal. They've done this before, finding vulnerable civilizations, offering help, transforming worlds to suit their needs. Earth isn't their first target. We're just their latest. A distant explosion rocked the observatory. Through the reinforced windows, they watched as Nexari ships rose from their bases, their liquid metal forms solidifying into weapons of war. The pretense was over. They're moving faster than I calculated, Aria whispered. They must have detected my research. Rhodes was already activating his emergency protocols, connecting with loyal officers throughout the arcology. How long until the atmospheric changes become irreversible? 3 months, maybe less. After that, breathing our own air will kill us. Then we have 3 months to stop them. Rhodes pulled up a map of the arcology's underground levels. There are old military bunkers down there, shielded from their scans. We can gather survivors, organize a resistance. Aria nodded, quickly gathering her data cores. We'll need more than weapons. Their technology has weaknesses, I've seen them. If I can continue my research. Another explosion, closer this time. The observatory's shields flickered as Rhodes received reports of Nexari forces moving through the city, herding humans toward processing centers. Time to go, he grabbed Aria's arm, leading her toward a hidden access panel. Welcome to the Resistance, Dr. Blackwood. As they descended into the darkness beneath the arcology, the sounds of invasion echoed above them. The Nexary's facade of benevolence had shattered, revealing the cold truth beneath their liquid metal surface. But they had made a crucial mistake, they had underestimated humanity's will to survive. In the tunnels below, Rhodes and Arya began their work. The commander reached out to his network of trusted soldiers and civilians, while the scientist worked to unlock the secrets of their enemy's technology. They had 3 months to save not just their city, but all of humanity. The real war for Earth was about to begin. The underground rising. The old military bunkers had become humanity's last refuge. 1 month into the Nexary occupation, the resistance had grown from a handful of soldiers and scientists into an army of survivors. Deep beneath New Pacific arcology, in corridors untouched for decades, hope refused to die. Kai Patel, a former maintenance engineer, hunched over a salvaged Nexary device in the Resistance's makeshift lab. His dark hands, calloused from weeks of working with alien tech, traced the liquid metal surface. "Dr. Blackwood, I think I found something." Arya looked up from her own work, dark circles under her eyes testament to endless hours of research. The lab they'd constructed in these tunnels was a far cry from her state-of-the-art facility above, but necessity had bred innovation. Their technology responds to harmonic frequencies, Kai explained, generating a specific sound wave. The liquid metal component briefly destabilized, losing its perfect form. "It's like hitting the right note to shatter glass." Arya's eyes lit up with recognition. The signal they sent us, it wasn't just communication. It was calibrating their technology to Earth-specific frequencies. She pulled up her original analysis of the alien broadcast. "They've been tuning their systems to our planet's natural resonance. Which means we can detune them," Kai finished, already adjusting his equipment. Their breakthrough was interrupted by Commander Rhodes's arrival. The past month had hardened him further, but his leadership had kept the resistance alive. "We've got movement topside. The Nexary are expanding their processing centers. They're accelerating their timeline." The news sent a chill through the lab. The processing centers were where humans were being prepared for the new atmosphere, a euphemism for genetic modification that killed as many as it changed. "How long?" Arya asked. 6 weeks, maybe less. Their atmospheric changes are working faster than predicted. Rhodes projected a map showing the spread of altered air composition. "We're losing ground." Kai's hands moved faster over his equipment. "The resonance disruption works, but our range is limited. We'd need to broadcast at a massive scale to affect their whole network." "The arcology's old emergency broadcast system," Arya said suddenly. "The transmitters are hardened against EMP, they might still be intact. If we could repurpose them." "That means going back up," Rhodes warned. "Through occupied territory. We don't have a choice." Arya pulled up schematics of the broadcast network. "Their ships, their bases, their whole infrastructure, it's all connected by the same liquid metal technology. One massive disruption could bring it all down." Rhodes nodded grimly. "I'll assemble a team." "Kai, how quickly can you adapt your device for the main transmitters?" "Give me 12 hours. The next day, as artificial dawn broke over the ruined city, 3 teams moved through the maintenance tunnels. Arya and Kai led the technical team, carrying their modified disruptor. Rhodes commanded the military escort, while a third team prepared to create a diversion. They emerged into a world transformed. The once familiar streets of New Pacific now shimmered with alien architecture, liquid metal structures flowing like frozen rivers between buildings. Nexary patrols glided past, their mercury-like forms reflecting the sickly green sky, a sky they had poisoned. The resistance fighters moved carefully, using the knowledge of their city's bones to avoid detection. But at the central communications hub, their luck ran out. "Humans detected," the metallic voice echoed as alarms blared. "Submit for processing." Rhodes's team engaged the Nexary guards while Arya and Kai raced for the transmitter controls. The aliens' liquid metal weapons morphed and shifted, but the resistance fighters had learned to predict their movements. The frequency needs to be exact, Kai said as they worked, sweat beading on his forehead. Too low, nothing happens. Too high, we might bring down the whole arcology. Aria's fingers flew over the controls, integrating their device with the old human technology. Above them, the battle raged. Rhodes's voice crackled over the comm, "Whatever you're doing, do it fast." "Ready," Kai announced. Aria took a deep breath, thinking of Marcus, of all those lost. Initiating broadcast. The sound was barely perceptible to human ears, but its effect on the Nexary technology was immediate and catastrophic. The liquid metal structures began to vibrate, their perfect forms wavering like heat mirages. Nexary soldiers stumbled, their weapons losing cohesion. "Increase power," Aria commanded. Kai pushed the transmitters to their limits as the disruption spread outward like a wave. The Nexary bases, those beautiful silver towers that had promised salvation, began to collapse. Their ships fell from the sky, no longer able to maintain their integrity. The invaders themselves seemed to lose definition, their mercury-like bodies struggling to hold shape. But victory came with a price. The disruption wave was affecting all advanced technology, including what remained of the arcology's systems. As the Nexary fell, humanity would have to rebuild from even less than before. "Shut it down," Rhodes ordered as the last alien structures dissolved. "We've done enough." As the sound faded, Aria looked out over the city. The Nexary were retreating, their grand invasion undone by the very harmonics they had used to find Earth. Above, through gaps in the poison clouds, she could see stars, real stars, not the false reflections of liquid metal ships. The battle was won, but the war for Earth's future was far from over. They had saved humanity from alien subjugation, but now faced the even greater challenge of healing their world. Yet as Aria watched survivors emerge from hiding, she saw not defeat in their eyes, but determination. They had beaten impossible odds once. They could do it again. Alliance of the Outcasts. The victory over the Nexary at New Pacific sparked a global revolution, but humanity's celebration was short-lived. 2 weeks after the Great Disruption, strange ships appeared in Earth's orbit, not the liquid metal craft of the Nexary, but crystalline vessels that shimmered like diamonds in the sunlight. In the underground command center, Commander Rhodes studied the sensor readings with growing concern. "They're not attacking. Just watching." "Not Nexary design," Kai confirmed, analyzing the energy signatures. "Completely different technology." Aria hadn't slept since detecting the new arrivals. "Look at their flight patterns. They're avoiding the areas we hit with the resonance weapon. They know what happened here." A transmission cut through their speculation. The holographic figure that appeared was distinctly alien, but unlike the mercury-smooth Nexary, these beings seemed to be composed of living crystal. Their transparent bodies held swirling colors that shifted with their emotions. "People of Earth," the crystalline being spoke, its voice chiming like bells. "We are the Vorari. We have witnessed your victory over our ancient enemy. We come seeking alliance." The revelation that followed changed everything. The Vorari, like humanity, had once been victims of Nexary salvation. But unlike Earth, their world had been fully transformed, their people forced to evolve into crystalline forms to survive their altered atmosphere. They had spent centuries plotting revenge, watching as the Nexary repeated their pattern across the galaxy. "Your resonance weapon," the Vorari ambassador, who called herself Dawn Singer, explained to Aria, "is the first real advantage anyone has gained over them. But they will return. They always return." In the weeks that followed, human and Vorari scientists worked together in a desperate race against time. The Vorari brought advanced technology and knowledge of Nexary tactics, while humanity contributed their breakthrough in resonance weapons and their fierce determination to survive. Kai found himself working closely with a young Vorari engineer named Twilight Weaver. Together, they discovered that combining human resonance technology with Ferrari crystal tech created weapons of unprecedented power. Your victory wounded them, Twilight Weaver explained, her crystalline form refracting light across the laboratory. But their main fleet still exists, and they will not forgive Earth for showing others they can be defeated. The warning proved prophetic. Long-range sensors detected a massive Nexari battle fleet assembling at the edge of the solar system. This was no mere invasion force, it was an armada meant for annihilation. They'll reach Earth in 10 days, Rhodes announced to the combined Human Ferrari Council. And this time, they won't bother with pretenses of help. They're coming to end us. Dawn Singer's colors darkened with determination. Then we have 10 days to prepare Earth's defense. Our ships will stand with yours. The next week was a blur of activity. Around the world, humans and Ferrari worked together to construct a planetary defense network. Crystal resonance cannons were installed in the remaining arcologies. The few surviving human spacecraft were retrofitted with Ferrari technology. Arya and Kai made another breakthrough, discovering how to use the Ferrari's crystalline nature to amplify the resonance effect. We can create a feedback loop, Arya explained to the Council. When they attack with their liquid metal ships, each crystal in orbit will multiply the disruption wave. A trap, Rhodes nodded approvingly. We let them think they have us surrounded, then turn their own power against them. But as the day of battle approached, Dawn Singer shared a final, devastating piece of information. There is a cost, she warned. The resonance wave we create, it will not only destroy the Nexari fleet. It will destroy any advanced technology in its path. Including our ships. Including what remains of your arcology systems. The choice was brutal, accept extinction, or survive but be thrown back to a pre-industrial state. After everything humanity had endured, after clawing their way back from the brink of environmental collapse, they faced losing their technological civilization all over again. The council chamber erupted in debate, but Arya's voice cut through the chaos. We survived the climate wars. We survived the Nexari invasion. We survived because we remembered what makes us human isn't our technology, it's our will to live, to adapt, to rebuild. Rhodes stood beside her. Better to be free in the ruins than slaves in a golden cage. The vote was unanimous. As the Nexari fleet approached, humanity prepared for one final gamble. The combined human Ferrari forces took up their positions, ready to sacrifice everything they had built to ensure a future where they could build again. In orbit, the crystalline ships of the Ferrari glittered like stars, forming a web around the planet. On the ground, survivors gathered in hardened bunkers, preserving what knowledge they could. And in the new Pacific Command Center, Arya, Rhodes, and Kai made their final preparations for humanity's greatest battle. The future of Earth would be decided in the next 24 hours. Dawn of New Earth. The Nexari fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel like a wave of liquid mercury, their ships spanning the horizon from pole to pole. Earth, seen from their vantage point, must have looked defenseless, a dying planet protected only by a scattered network of crystalline vessels. In the new Pacific Command bunker, Arya watched the tactical display with forced calm. They're moving into position exactly as predicted. All ships reporting ready, Kai confirmed, his fingers dancing over the crystal tech interface. Resonance weapons charged. Commander Rhodes's voice was steady as he addressed the combined human Ferrari forces. Remember, we only get one shot at this. Everything we've built, everything we've saved, it all comes down to the next few minutes. The Nexari commander's transmission was not unexpected, but its arrogance still stung. The liquid metal being appeared before them, its form rippling with barely contained rage. Your resistance is futile, it declared. You have corrupted our grand design, turned others against us. For this, your world will not be transformed, it will be erased. Dawn Singer's crystalline form pulsed with defiance as she stepped forward. You should have learned, Nexari. Every world you've tried to consume has made you stronger, but you never understood the one force stronger than your technology, the will to remain free. The Nexari commander's response was to cut transmission and launch the attack. Thousands of liquid metal ships descended toward Earth, their weapons transforming into impossible geometries of destruction. "Wait for it," Rhodes commanded as the enemy approached. "Let them commit fully to the attack." Aria's hands tightened on her console. The plan required perfect timing. Too early, and the Nexari could retreat. Too late, and their weapons would tear the planet apart. The first wave of Nexari ships hit the atmosphere. Their liquid metal forms began to shift, preparing to release the chemical weapons that would complete Earth's transformation. "Now!" Rhodes roared. Kai slammed his hand down on the crystal activator. Around the planet, every Varari ship began to vibrate at a precise frequency. The resonance weapon powered up, amplified 1,000-fold by the crystalline network. The wave of energy that burst forth was unlike anything Earth had ever seen. It started as a ripple in the air, then grew into a tsunami of pure vibration. The Nexari ships closest to the planet began to lose cohesion immediately, their liquid metal forms unable to maintain integrity. "Secondary systems online," Aria reported. "Resonance wave spreading." The Nexari fleet realized too late that they had fallen into a trap. Their attempts to retreat were cut off as the crystalline ships tightened their formation, creating a web of amplifying energy that trapped the liquid metal vessels in a feedback loop of destructive harmonics. But the cost was immediate and devastating. As predicted, the resonance wave didn't discriminate. Varari ships began to crack and shatter. Earth's remaining satellites fell from the sky. In the arcologies, every piece of advanced technology sparked and died. Through it all, humanity watched as their greatest enemy was undone by the very forces they had tried to master. The liquid metal fleet dissolved into clouds of inert particles, raining down on Earth like silver snow. When the resonance wave finally dissipated, an eerie silence fell. The command bunker's backup systems provided their last glimpse of the aftermath, a sky cleared of both friend and foe, and a world forever changed. Dawn Singer's final transmission came through on emergency channels. "Remember us, humans of Earth. Remember that you do not face the darkness alone. We will return, when you are ready, when you have rebuilt. The stars will wait for you." The surviving Varari ships, those few that had been outside the resonance web, departed for their home world, leaving humanity to face their new reality. In the months that followed, Earth began its slow recovery. Without advanced technology, humans were forced to relearn old ways of living, of growing food, of building communities. The altered atmosphere gradually began to clear without the Nexari's influence, though it would take generations to fully heal. 1 year after the battle, Aria stood with Rhodes and Kai on a hill overlooking the ruins of New Pacific. The arcology was being dismantled, its materials repurposed for smaller, simpler dwellings. Below, people worked in newly planted fields, their methods primitive but their spirits unbroken. Was it worth it? Kai asked, watching the sunset through air that grew clearer with each passing day. Rhodes gestured to the community below. "Look at them. No more hiding in sealed cities. No more living in fear of the sky. They're free." Aria pulled out her most precious possession, a crystal shard given to her by Dawn Singer. Someday, when humanity had rebuilt, when they had found a balance between progress and preservation, it would activate, allowing them to contact their Varari allies once more. "We lost our technology," she said, "but we gained something more valuable. We learned that humanity's greatest strength isn't in our machines or our cities. It's in our ability to adapt, to survive, to help others do the same." As darkness fell, lights began to appear in the valley, not the harsh artificial glare of the arcology, but the warm glow of fires around which communities gathered. Above, stars shone clearly for the first time in generations, promising not invasion or salvation, but possibility. Earth had been broken and remade, its people humbled but not defeated. And in that new beginning, there was hope, hope that when humanity reached for the stars again, they would do so not out of desperation or fear, but out of wisdom earned through hardship and triumph. The dawn of a new Earth had begun.